then you're in the right place. I'm about to reveal how you can derive the science of rhythm, the science of the Hermetic principle of rhythm from physics, without you having to bring all this information together yourself. I understand that not understanding the uh, principle of rhythm, as well as how your mental states have flows and tides, may have you wondering why your mental state swings through the different degrees and why it can be difficult sometimes to maintain equilibrium. So don't worry about that because today I'm going to share with you the science of the Hermetic principle of rhythm. And knowing this principle can help you be more aware of these pendulum swings, how to better stay in flow. So let me get I got some visuals for y'all. Let me get them up. So of the Hermetic principles, the principle of rhythm is the easiest to understand with basic common sense. The principle of vibration is the foundation where the principle can be derived from. The Caballon describes vibration or rhythm like this: everything flows out and in, everything has its tides, all things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Just reading that again for y'all. So we are all familiar with this principle as we experience it in our everyday lives to one degree or another. So while we do experience this principle in our everyday lives, there's another part of reality where this principle is included. The law of rhythm is a consequence of the rhythm of the law of vibration. And the law of vibration is a part of the science of quantum mechanics, as we explained earlier in the series. So the principle of polarity is also closely related here. Another way to describe rhythm is by describing frequency. So, frequency in physics is the number of waves that pass a fixed point in a unit of time. Also, the number of cycles or vibrations undergone during one unit of time by a body in a periodic motion. So, we understand that wave functions are the function of waves that point out the clear connection to quantum mechanics. And according to the definition, each wave function has its own vibratory frequency or rhythm. From this, we can clearly see that the foundation of rhythm is vibration. However, to get a more deeper understanding, we need to examine how from vibration we scale up to rhythm. So, sine and cosine waves are signal waveforms which are identical to each other. Right? You can see there sine and cosine waves. A sine wave depicts a recurring change or motion. Cosine wave is similar to a cosine function when depicted on a graph. So every cosine function is basically a shifted sine function. Sine and cosine are used to describe wave functions. A Fourier series is an infinite series in which the terms are constants multiplied by sine or cosine functions of integer multiples of the variable in which is used in the analysis of periodic functions. A Fourier wave series consists of a larger waveform that is any combination of sines and cosines. It's apparent that everything in our universe, including space, time, and particles, has a wave function. This also means that everything has a Fourier series of waveforms repeating, and this applies to all scales. So the maxima and minima of a wave function, known collectively as extrema, are the largest and smallest value of the function either within a given range or on an entire domain. So this minima and maxima correspond to the rise and fall or the tides that the principle of rhythm embodies, and Hermeticism says that everything has. A waveform, however, has a single frequency. A sine wave, for instance, is a waveform that has only a single frequency associated with it. The Caballon curiously connects the waveform with polarity that deals with the sliding or the increase or decrease of the frequency along the scale. So here's a quote from the Caballon that talks about this. Let's see. Rhythm manifests between the two poles established by the principle of polarity. This does not mean, however, that the pendulum of rhythm swings to the extreme poles, for this rarely happens. In fact, it is difficult to establish the extreme polar opposite in a majority of cases, but the swing is ever toward first one pole and then the other. Waveforms inside of a Fourier series are placed or laid over each other, although each one is still evident. These superimposed waves are both large and small. The total frequency of the collective energy is how the created composite waveforms combined average frequency is found. The average frequency, however, is not always easy to see at every point in the waveform because the waveform comprises many different waves of many different frequencies. For example, let me get another picture up here. And this is the different parts of a wave so that you can better understand what I'm talking about. So, for example, the lowest part of a waveform is a troll. You know what? Sorry, I got the wrong picture up, y'all. Give me a second. Oh man, actually, sorry, y'all. I don't have that picture up of the troll in the. Thought I had it in here. Yeah, I don't. But maybe you can see it. We'll look at it on here. You can kind of get a good idea of it, just so I can keep this moving. So, for example, the lowest part of a waveform is a troll. This could appear in a large waveform and could seem that on a very limited scale, that is its contribution to the wave is so small or unimportant as to be not worth considering. This makes the evidence of the rest of the waveforms in the pattern more apparent. Thus, for this part of the waveform with this small or short span, the vibrational average at this point is diminished more than the vibrational average of the waveform in its entirety. This would make the rise and fall to the crests and the trolls of the tides of vibration and polarity happen naturally, since the change in vibration is how polarity is described. This rise and fall to crests and trolls corresponds with the rise and fall in mental states. Although this rise and fall is constant, the occurrence of mental states is still present. Yeah, sorry about that, y'all. I was supposed to have a picture to better describe that, but let's move forward. So let me blow this up a little bit bigger for y'all. Yeah, let's get that a little bit bigger. Yeah. So amplitude in physics is the maximum displacement or distance between a point on a vibrating body or wave measured from its equilibrium position. So this amplitude of the wave function is what the probability of a state occurring in quantum mechanics depends on. During the trolls of the wave, the occurrence of a mental state is diminished. Wave function collapse occurs when a wave function, initially in a superposition of several Egene states, reduces to a single Egene state. I'm missing some pictures, y'all. I'm so sorry. Where's, you know what? Give me 1 second, y'all. Trying to see where my pictures are that I downloaded and put in this file. I don't see them. I don't see them. But we'll just keep moving forward. We'll keep moving forward. So, right, wave function collapse occurs when a wave function, initially a superposition of several Egene states, reduces to a single Egene state. An Egene state is a special wave function when an operator acts on a general wave function. What results is a wave function with a completely different shape. A multiple of an EG state is a EG value. Once a wave function has collapsed, the wave function as part of the environment becomes very tiny. Before the collapse happens, however, the environment exists as a huge waveform, and that has its own rhythm, and even after collapse, still lasts a long time. So quantum decoherence, let me make that a little bit bigger for you all. So quantum decoherence is the loss of quantum coherence. In quantum mechanics, particles such as electrons are described by a wave function, a mathematical representation of the quantum state of a system. A probabilistic interpretation of the wave function is used to explain various quantum effects. Although the observer's environmental frame contains a collapsed version of the wave, the existence of the conscious and subconscious patterns are still present. Not only are they still present, but they are still relative to the rhythm of the environmental wave function where their production and decomposition occurred. One statement to simplify all this is that decoherence takes place due to rhythm. An astrological age is a time period in astrological theory which astrologers say parallels major changes in the development of Earth's inhabitants, particularly relating to culture, society, and politics. This occult phenomenon has a significant relation to the principle of rhythm. Materialism and reductionism are both eluded by this correspondence of these ages with the natural hidden rhythmic patterns with a mentalistic nature and broad influence. There are many cultures that have documented and observed these cycles and confirmed their existence. For example, a yuga cycle is a cyclic age in Hindu cosmology. Each cycle lasts for 4,320,000 years. That is 12,000 divine years and repeats four yugas or world ages. Uh, Krita Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dvapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. So Tzolk'in is the name bestowed by Mayanists on the 260-day Mesoamerican calendar originated by the Mayan civilization of pre-Columbian Mesoamerica. They also base their calendar on these cycles. These are all different types of cycles and calendars, but they are based on the same concept of astrological ages. Some of these cycles are zodiacal based. These based cycles, however, are only significant in the fact that they are using the movement of the heavenly spheres for their establishment of the tides and flows of corresponding cycles. One example we have of these cycles at work is the Mayan calendar age that we just exited. According to the Mayan calendar, we just exited the age of Pisces and entered the age of Aquarius on December the 21st of 2012. So the Mayan calendar consists of three separate calendars that are used simultaneously: the long count, the Tzolk'in, or the divine calendar, and the Hab, the civil calendar. The latter two calendars identify days. The long count identifies the years. A different calendar was used to track longer periods of time for the inscription of calendar dates, or identifying when one event occurred in relation to others. This is the long count. The largest of the long count's five cycles, the Baktun, is a period equaling 400 runs. The long count calendar has a theme associated with each of the 400 eras, which the calendar is divided into. The triumph of materialism, also known as the transformation of matter, was the theme of the previous era for the past 400 years, from 1618 AD to 2012 AD. Before the intellectual developments of Europe around that time, this was known already. The record of this spiritual background was clearly predicted and based in and predicted in the cyclical fashion of the ages since the increasingly materialistic thinking since the Enlightened time. There were other cycles that also predicted the downfall of this materialistic thinking with mysterious accuracy. This is not to say that the period was unfruitful, as there were many beneficial scientific and technological advances for mankind. The real nature of reality had been forgotten during this period, however, it has left humanity deprived of strength and vitality, as well as lacking some fundamental aspects of human existence, such as objective truth, morality, knowledge, and values or meaning. The association of the benefits and deprivation are not associated with each other. Science doesn't necessarily mean materialism, as we previously discussed, despite the two being seen as the same thing. So materialism can be seen as progress rather than taking us backwards, and is a result of spiritual influence, and will, like all cycles, come to an end. So, if you're interested in discovering more about the science of the Hermetic principles, then be sure to check out the Quantum Hermetica that's in the first link in this description. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more videos helping you with mental alchemy and more. Check out this playlist of my top 7 videos of the science of the Hermetic principles, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Take care.